The Launch Project mission is to build critical skills and equitable opportunities in the areas of business, politics, and STEM for all girls, irrespective of socioeconomic differences. Our goal is to empower, educate, and develop girls to become tomorrow's female leaders, change makers, and entrepreneurs. Currently, we have over 35 chapters across the country and internationally at high schools and universities around the world. And shout out to our 3 newest chapters, Srita, who started the first state chapter in Georgia, Akiyat Nurbol from NIS Aturu in Kazakhstan, and Andrea Ku from Tenafly High School in New Jersey. If you're interested in starting a chapter, or if you know someone who might be interested in starting a chapter, please visit launch-project.org to submit a chapter application, and I'll put the link in the chat. So today, I am thrilled to announce our speaker, Amanda Zuckerman, the co-founder and chief brand officer of Dormify. Amanda grew up in Potomac and attended Churchill High School, which I know is not that far from all of us. She was a college student at Washington University in St. Louis, and she faced challenges when trying to shop for her own dorm room decor. Determined to improve the experience for others, she rallied her friends to create Dormify, a dorm-focused blog and brand ambassador community. Little did she know this was just the beginning of her journey. After college, Amanda took feedback from her peers and her own experiences with the help of her entrepreneurial mother, Karen Zuckerman, to transform Dormify into a successful direct-to-consumer one-stop shop for dorm and small space living decor. With a background in marketing and e-commerce, Amanda has played a key role in building Dormify into a successful business, known for its stylish and affordable products and its strong community of college students and recent graduates. In 2018, she was recognized by Forbes as one of their 30 under 30s, and since its launch in 2013, Dormify has grown to be a multi-million-dollar business. Amanda is a true leader in the world of dorm room decor and a role model for aspiring entrepreneurs. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. So nice to meet you all. So is everyone in the DC area, or are we all over the country?
I'm from Georgia and I'm currently a junior right now.
Awesome. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I'm from DC and I'm a sophomore.
Nice to meet you.
And I'm a sophomore.
Virginia? Great.
Thank you guys for sharing. So how it's going to work is I'm going to ask Amanda a couple questions, and then we're going to open it up to audience Q&A. So Amanda, could you tell us a little bit about your background and what were some of your interests and ideas of what direction you wanted to pursue when you were in high school?
Sure. So feels like so long ago that I was in your shoes, but also so not long ago at the same time. When I was in high school, I would say that my interests were somewhat different than my interests in college and then after college. I really was focused on, getting good grades and applying to college and doing all the things that you're doing as a junior and a senior. But then I was also an athlete and I did competitive cheerleading and high school cheerleading. So I feel like I was touching so many different things and just trying to be as well-rounded as possible. I also, I guess the most relevant thing that I did in high school that translated to my career was I got involved in the yearbook at my freshman year, I guess, and then ended up being involved in that organization throughout high school, became the editor-in-chief when I was a senior. So it was my ability to put my creative energy out there somewhere. I always really loved doing creative things. I was always interested in graphic design, fashion, however I could express myself creatively. So while I didn't really take art classes in college, I think my 2 outlets for that passion were both in the yearbook and then internships that I did as a high school senior. So at Churchill, we were able to do a senior year internship during the school day. And that was a really great experience prior to going to college, just to be in a real work environment. And I worked at an advertising agency and got to work on some of my own projects. So I know that you're probably always hearing about internships in college, but if you have the opportunity in high school to do some sort of remote or in-person internship, one, you don't have to take as many classes during the day, but it is a really great experience.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. So what did you do before Dormify, and what sort of helped you to run a company?
Well, nothing will help you run a company until you actually do it. So I'll just start there. But some of the things that I tried out prior to starting the company, just kind of picking up where I left off. So the editor of the yearbook was something that gave me real world experience in how to manage a team, how to lead something, bring it from ideation to completion, and really be held accountable to the end result of something. So being part of a team and having the experience of like relying on others and doing a project together was really important. Also, while I was in college, I did a couple of internships during the summertime. So one of my most amazing experiences was after my freshman year of college, I had the opportunity to intern at Vogue magazine. So while at the time it was, what I consider like standard intern tasks, like getting coffee, I did that. It was still very fun to me, but also being a part of photo shoots and running all over New York City and delivering things that people needed help with. I got to do more like administrative tasks, but just being in a really cool environment was something that I experienced at a young age. And at the time, most of my friends weren't doing internships when they were freshmen or right after their freshman year. So that was great to just be around adults. And I was definitely young. All the other interns that I was around were either graduating college or going into their senior year. So that like made me kind of grow up and just have a level of maturity at a young age that I think was great experience. And then I think something valuable to share would be that I tried another internship, another point in college where I actually learned something that I didn't like. So I worked at a PR firm and I learned that I absolutely hated working at a PR firm. I don't know exactly what about it I didn't like, but I just knew while I was there, I didn't feel connected to the work and I didn't feel motivated. And I would just say that while you're trying things out, whether it's a class or it's an internship or an after school job, whatever it is, it's just as important to learn about things that you're not passionate about and that you don't love to do as much as it is to learn about things that you do like to do. So that was really valuable to me to just be able to say, you know what, like, I don't have to throw all of these different paths up in the air and say, oh my, like, what do I want to do? As long as you start like eliminating things that just don't excite you or don't make you happy. So that's some of the stuff that I did either before or alongside Dormify. But then in college, my college majors, I was a double major. So my two majors were pretty connected to what Dormify is today. I was a graphic design and marketing major. But the work that I did in school started in very fundamental foundation like courses. So for the art classes, I was doing drawing and I would be sitting there as a freshman thinking, I don't want to draw, like we had to do like nude models and stuff. So very foundational, like drawing classes, painting, pastels. I had to do all of that. And I just couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel of when can I get to the elective classes that are going to be the things that I more so enjoy. But that's just what everyone goes through, from accounting 101 or drawing. You have to do that type of stuff to get to the more interesting stuff. So I think at the end of the day, it teaches you great like philosophical things and great foundation. So I'll cut that off there and let you ask the next question, Sahana.
I love your advice on internships. That's really important to test out what you like.
Totally. So don't think of something that like you don't actually like as not being a win, because it is a win to actually learn something that you don't like to do. And that's why I also encourage people to try a bunch of different things, even if it's short term versus long term, just being exposed to different environments and learning, do I like a big company? Do I like a small company? Do I like being around people my age? Do I like being around adults? Do I like being in a big team or working independently? Do I like working remotely, or do I like working at an office? Those types of general things, you're not going to know until you try. So the more experiences that you get to try, then you can start to weed out the things that you actually do enjoy.
Definitely. Thank you.
Mhm.
My next question is, a lot of people have ideas, but they never execute them. What spurred you to actually take action and start your idea? And can you please explain the preparation and execution process of creating Dormify?
Sure. So my mom and I actually started the business together, and I don't think that it would have launched if we weren't doing it together. If it was just me or if it was just her, it was kind of like we both had to say, okay, yes, let's do this. But just going back to when the idea was born, we were shopping for my freshman dorm room, and we were at Bed Bath & Beyond and Container Store and Bloomingdale's and Urban Outfitters, all these places. And we quickly saw that at the time, back in 2009, a long time ago, there wasn't twin XL bedding, which is what is required for college dorm rooms. There wasn't twin XL bedding that was actually cool and stylish. And there was nothing that was really like representative of my own personal style and my personality. So we were like literally standing in Bed Bath & Beyond and said, I can't believe that there isn't a brand that does this. Like, why is no one catering to an 18-year-old that's designing their first home away from home? It's crazy to me that there's such a hole in the market. So I said to my mom, we should just design our own line of bedding. And she was like, okay. So that's literally what happened. But that's why I say it was definitely like me having an idea and her saying, that's such a great idea, let's do it, and agreeing to be a part of it, that made it actually happen. And we didn't really act on it until maybe a year later. So moved into my freshman dorm room, kind of grabbed different pieces from all different stores and was able to create something that was really great. And people in my building and on my hall were like, oh my God, your room looks like a hotel room. And we're sitting there like, it wasn't that hard to do, but people need the help to be able to do that themselves. So that was like the beginning of our proof of concept of, okay, this is something that people actually find interest in. And it's something that people need help doing. And not every child or student and their parent can actually do this themselves. So what we did first was we created a blog, and we had college students, friends of mine and friends of friends, write for the blog. And we were talking about college life and dorm decor and all things about being a college student, which at the time wasn't really happening because blogging was just beginning. If I was doing this today, I'd probably just start a TikTok, but we didn't have TikTok. So it's the equivalent of that, just creating content and talking about a topic that is relevant. So once we saw that people actually responded well to that content and really liked the idea of decorating a dorm room, we had enough fuel to really say, this is something that we should pursue. So again, like connecting this to today, I would say we had an idea and we stood up a TikTok channel and started talking about like all of our dorm decor ideas, and then quickly like saw a following that really proved to us, okay, people care about this. Then we got to work to say, what is this actually going to be? We're going to create a brand. And that's really where we got started, is building a whole like lifestyle and feeling around a destination for shopping for your dorm. And it was born that way, called Dormify. We looked at all different names, and people always ask us, how did you come up with the name Dormify? It's such a great name. And it's not like we had this light bulb moment, epiphany, where we said, oh, I got it, it's Dormify. But instead it was more like, let's make a giant list of names. Let's see what URLs are actually available. Dormify was available, and we're like, great name, URLs available, perfect combination, let's go with it. And it kind of just like clicked. So from there, we had the content site, and then we had to figure out how to manufacture bedding, which I was a sophomore in college. I no idea. My mom also had no idea. So I'm going to keep this a little bit concise. And then if you guys have questions, I can dig into more details. But I think just from a standpoint of giving you takeaways, we both had no experience in textiles, and the two people that started building the business with us also had no experience in textiles. So to many, that would have been such a roadblock to get started. But what we did was figure out where we could meet people that are in this industry so that we could learn and figure out how to meet the right vendor or manufacturer to get started with us. So our example would be in New York, there's a big trade show that happens for the home category. We've learned about that. And we went to this trade show because there's hundreds and hundreds of people that are basically selling their manufacturing house or their brand to any sort of buyer, whether you work for a department store or a boutique or a website. All of these different buyers are coming to find product to sell on their stores or on their sites. And that's where we started learning about what the process of developing sheets and bedding overseas was. And we ultimately found someone who believed in the concept and wanted to help us get off the ground. And just keep in mind that we actually didn't even have a website at the time. We had nothing to show of ourselves to say like we are a legitimate business, but someone took a chance on us because we were very bold and confident about the concept and the proposal of Dormify.com that we had in mind. So it's all about selling the dream, faking it till you make it. And you don't have to like show up to a potential vendor partner or manufacturing partner and have it all figured out. These people are used to working with people who definitely have not figured it out. So it's all about having conviction in what you're talking about. So ended up, working with someone to develop bedding. It only lasted a year, but it was all we needed to just get started. So takeaway lesson here would be not being too hard on yourself about perfection and not striving for perfection. And the same thing reigns true in my day-to-day and in the business now as it did when we were getting started. So 80% is good enough. Perfection is not realistic. Progress is what's most important, moving forward and not getting hung up and moving too slowly because you're striving for perfection. So anyway, that's kind of a little bit of the beginning stories of how we started Dormify. So happy to dig into more detail there a bit later too.
I love that advice. Thank you so much. That's really good to remember, especially like with setbacks and facing setbacks. So the next question is there anything looking back that you wish you had done differently with Dormify?
I get this question a lot. And I feel like I never respond to it the same way. Things that I would have done differently. I think one of the things that comes to mind, just really looking back, is we did some really scrappy grassroots type of marketing things in the early days, like doing shopping parties in people's basements and like literally driving around all over the East Coast trying to meet potential customers by doing these shopping parties. We also went down to spring break for high school seniors, like just fun things that allow us to connect with our customer. And we hit a point where Facebook and Instagram advertising, like all was getting started, and many businesses were moving in that direction of doing social advertising and really like putting money into that. So I think those advertising efforts obviously helped us grow the business, but in an ideal world, I wish we had never even gone there, and we continued to do these grassroots types of efforts. And we've actually come back to do these types of things in the last couple of years, but being able to build on more organic growth is really difficult. But so that's why I don't call it a regret, but kind of just something that I reflect on as we continue to build the brand. But I see a lot of brands out there who have never spent $1 on paid advertising via social channels, and I'm a little envious of them. because once you start, you get a little sucked into just seeing, what the power of it is, but then you hit a point where they're just not as effective anymore. So that's what I would say.
Thank you. What advice do you wish you were given when you first started your company?
Okay. Well, this one I can definitely give you guys some wisdom to take home with you. Well, you already are home, but just hold on to. Something that I wish that I did when I was really just a college student and then early on in my career. LinkedIn is a great resource because you can connect with people and have, a place where all of your professional connections live. But I find that LinkedIn is a little bit difficult to navigate. And maybe that's just for me, like people are always trying to connect with me and I don't have a good sense of who the people that when I need something specific, who to go out to or who to reach out to. So something that I wish I had advice on is two things. One, not just the importance of networking, because I think anyone will tell you what the importance of networking is, but really like making those networking efforts valuable. And what I mean by that is you'll meet so many people in your college experience. You'll meet so many people just out of college and, throughout your career. If you don't remember who those people are and they're just a LinkedIn connection that like, okay, if you don't remember Abigail's name, you can't go find her. So like what I started doing later on, and I encourage you all to do in some format earlier on, is I actually just keep a Google spreadsheet of all the people that I want to remember to either stay in touch with or some detail about them that reminds me, okay, when I need help with our blog or when I need help with logistics, like I can reach out to that person and just pick their brain or ask them a quick question. So it's about like having an organized way of remembering the people that you meet. And it's not about quantity as much as it is about quality. So something that I always also just share with students that I talk to is, say you meet someone on campus, either as a high school student or as a college student, maybe there's a guest speaker or some person that you really are inspired by or find really interesting or you really connect with, but you don't really have that one-on-one connection with them. Say you go listen to a guest lecture or some sort of session, maybe even like this, and you shake their hand and say, hey, it was so great to meet you, Scott. You really inspired me with this, like, hope to keep in touch. Okay, you take that conversation, make sure you get your contact information, you put it in your Google spreadsheet, and then you set up some sort of like reminder of, oh, I need to check in with Scott every quarter or twice a year and say, hey, Scott, just wanted to check in. I really enjoyed meeting you. And I just wanted to let you know that I am taking these courses this semester and I'm looking for an internship and I'm interested in this field. Might you know someone that I could connect with? So the point of me telling you that like made up story is when you meet someone that you feel like could be really valuable to continue to have a relationship with, just check in with them every so often. And this has actually happened to me in the past where, maybe someone worked for me as a high school student and then they really wanted, like their lifelong dream was to work at Dormify when they graduated. That's 4 years of keeping in touch. And I'm happy to share that there is someone who did that and she now works at Dormify. And she didn't really have much to say. She was just like, Amanda, hey, checking in. How are you? Things are going well. Would love to catch up soon. And I might not have caught up with her like twice a year by any means, but maybe once a year. And it's just good consistency. So however that takeaway might like speak to you, I would just keep that in mind. People have a lot going on, especially those that are, older than you. I mean, same goes for me too. Like, it's just important that you keep in touch with the people that you think will be valuable to you in your career later on. And that's not 10 people or 100 people. It could be 3.
I love your point on the spreadsheet. That's something I know. That's really good.
I have a spreadsheet called Amanda's Network, and I will tell you what some of the columns are. It's like name, contact information, who introduced me to them, what's like one line about them that I need to remember. And then I categorize everyone by like who they are. Maybe they're another founder, or they are a networker, or they are a investor, whatever it might be, but just kind of applying that to your early professional career is really important as you start to meet more and more people.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The next question is, what characteristics, qualities, and skills do you think are most important for an entrepreneur to develop to be successful in their future?
To develop or to like just be?
Both.
Both. Okay. Grit, which is just being determined and like not giving up, because you're going to have a lot of high highs and low lows, and sometimes a low low can destroy you, but you have to be able to bounce back up. Passion, because you have to be really fired up to do the things that you're doing every day. And confidence, because you need to, like I said, fake it till you make it, and kind of just walk around and talk to people like you know exactly what you're doing if you don't, or you know exactly how something works even if you don't. But of course, like asking for help when you need it. So I know that sounds a little bit contradictory, but you need to have a level of confidence so that people like hear you and listen to you, and are not just like questioning your abilities, but also don't be afraid to ask for help when you might not know a certain like skill or functional area. A successful entrepreneur always surrounds themselves with people that do like compliment them and do things that person cannot do. So don't try to do everything. If you know you're not a finance person or a math person, go find someone else who is.
That's great. Could you walk us through a typical day in your life?
Oh gosh. Sure. Just cut me off if I'm getting too detailed. So I've been trying to be better about a morning routine, and I know that people have mixed feelings about the importance of a morning routine. But these days I've been waking up around 6:30, and I try to have, I know, feels like high school days. I try to have more of a morning before I start working. So whether that means a workout or meditation, or sometimes I meditate every day, and I have these lengths of time that I do that, but then sometimes I go 2 months without meditating. So working on what exactly I'm doing. But anyway, once I get into my work day, I have a different day every single day of the week. But it's really a combination of every single day I have a leadership team meeting. So what we do is every lead of different parts of the business get together. If there's a roadblock or a challenge someone's having, we talk it out in that meeting. And it's really like our daily stand up so that we can solve problems quickly and not wait until, you know, a meeting that's happening 4 days later to be able to solve something. So I do that with the leadership team, and then I do that with my team. And my team is our brand marketing and creative team. And really, depending on what time of year it is, there's different areas that I focus on. So for me personally, right now, I'm really focused on developing all of the plans for our upcoming photo shoot that showcases all of our new product. And I'm really excited to see what you all think of it. But what that entails is really taking every new product that our merchandising team is developing, sourcing, putting together, and figuring out the best way to showcase it and show it off and inspire you all to decorate your rooms. So we actually build full room setups and we shoot them in real dorm buildings. And it's a 3-week long process of actually shooting. So we spend several months getting ready for it. But my general areas of focus are building our marketing plan and executing it, developing all of our creative assets, our photography, all of our marketing materials from email to direct mail to social. I'm not doing the social, but people on my team are. And then I do other things like cross-functional things where I'm learning from the merchandising team or the operations team. And I'm in my office about 3 times a week. So we have a hybrid schedule. I work from home a couple days a week. And sometimes I'm talking to students. Sometimes I am on campus talking to students. Sometimes I am talking to investors or pitching brand partners. It's really all across the map. But I try to, build out work blocks for myself so that I can actually do work. But my days tend to be full of meetings, which I don't wish upon anyone. I'm trying to have less meetings. But it's a full day. And then I very much do have a life outside of work and, I like to do social things after work and on the weekends, and every day is just a new day. So that's my general way of my week operating.
That's great. I love how you make time in the morning, especially. I think that's something I need to focus on, waking up earlier and meditating. That was a really great point.
I'll tell you one more thing that I've started to do, and I really like it. I don't know if any of you all would actually want to do it or think that you could, but I started sleeping with my phone not in my room, which is a crazy thing. I plug it in the kitchen. I live in an apartment, so everything's very small. But I plug it in the kitchen. I got a new alarm clock that I use. It's like a smart alarm clock. And I have really enjoyed not having my phone when I go to sleep and when I wake up. So I'm trying to do what some would call a digital intermittent fasting, which is crazy. But for at least an hour, ideally 2 hours before and after, before you go to bed, and then when you wake up in the morning, no phone screen time.
I'll definitely try that. Thanks.
Would any of you do that? It sounds crazy, right?
My next question is, how do you stay up to date on trends and changes within the industry, and how do you incorporate them into your branding strategy?
Great question. So when we develop product, it takes a long time. So if I could throw out a few dates, we launch a new collection of products in early May, and we start planning for that and getting our stuff together to actually make it happen a year before, which is crazy. So similar to fashion, but the home industry moves a little bit slower than fashion, which could be good or bad, but we usually stay up to date with the trends really just through social media. So we're always watching content and we're incorporating content into our daily lives all the time. And that's some of my team's job is to really just understand pop culture and what's going on TikTok trends and all other social networks. But we also stay up to date just from staying in close communication with our customers. So through our ambassador program, which I encourage all of you to join if it's something that you're interested in, we are always getting customer feedback. We are asking for answers to surveys about different product requests that we're considering bringing in. We try to keep a really lively conversation at all times through our community platform, Geneva, if anyone has ever played around on Geneva. But that's really our main source. And then we just watch what's going on social media. The internet is so easy to keep up with. So that's what we do. And we look at fashion, of course, too. So if fashion is on a a faster timeline of chasing trends, we are able to react to that and kind of translate fashion trends to your home.
What's your favorite product you've developed and why?
I'd love to know what some of your favorite products of ours are too. So I'm going to send that question back to you after I answer it. But two of my favorite products, one of our best sellers is one of my favorites, which is our charging headboards. If any of you have seen these before or have older friends or siblings that are in college, a lot of people bring headboards to college now, and it is a sturdy headboard that attaches to the wall with command strips, and it has a built-in charging port. So you can plug in your phone charger, which is exactly what I just said not to do, but in college, there's no way around it. So I would never try to do that myself in college. But the headboard is one. And then we also have this ottoman bench that serves as a storage piece too. So you can actually fit 20 pairs of shoes inside the storage ottoman, and it's like a double bench. So that's another one of my favorites. And that was probably our most viewed TikTok, was with that storage ottoman. We went viral with a video that you guys can find on our profile.
That's amazing. I'll definitely have to get that. That sounds so great.
Yeah. So now we have many more styles of the headboards because they become so popular. We have a few really, really cute ones that are coming out this year. If anyone has a twin bed at home, we have more twin styles than full queen, but we have some full queen. But spoiler alert, just for you guys, there has been this shell-shaped headboard that has been pretty popular on Pinterest that we actually had. This is actually a fun story. We had this shell headboard that's literally like light pink and just looks like a shell. We had it back in 2020, maybe 2019, 2020. And now all of a sudden it's like the hottest thing. And we had it a couple of years ago. So to me, that was actually us being early to a trend, and it sold, but it wasn't as hot as it is now. So it'll be really interesting to see the response to this headboard that we were actually a little early to the game with. And now we're bringing it back after seeing it all over Pinterest again.
I love the charging drawer cart. That's my favorite. It's amazing.
That's your favorite? Which
Yeah.
color? The white one?
Yeah, I have the white one. It's really great. If everyone wants to like unmute and share their favorite product, feel free.
I love the hot pink headboard. I just saw that one come through.
I really like the neon signs.
Have you seen that we have custom ones too? So you can design whatever you want.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they're great. We're going to be introducing more fonts and more colors soon too.
I love the storage ottomans. I have a few, and I don't have that much space in my room. It's pretty small, so I really like it because I can just slide it under my bed.
Anyone else want to share?
Not a product, but on the website itself, there's like a bed visualizer that's really helpful.
I have a question, Abigail. So that bed visualizer is something that like people really know us for. And I'm just curious if you have any feedback on your experience using it that would make it more seamless to use, or if you felt like it was really easy to use.
I felt like it was pretty easy to use. Sometimes it was difficult to tell if a color would match, like if it just looked sort of like it would match or if it would actually match.
Got it.
Yeah, maybe if there were like standardized names for specific colors, like, some athletic brands like Lululemon will have like a special name for a color.
Okay. Cool. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
I think we had a question in the chat.
Haley.
Is it possible to make an entire room designer, including wall decor?
What do you mean by that, Haley? Like,
I think
what
it's
kind of-
like, you have the bed designer,
Mhm.
and then like maybe a way to lay out your wall or something, like the same alternative for like posters or something. So pick your posters and kind of mess with it on the wall. I think that'd be super helpful if that's
So- Okay, I got it. We actually used to have a wall visualizer, but we redesigned our website last year and that didn't make it onto the original scope, but we are thinking about bringing back the wall visualizer so that you can actually like play around with the placement of all your posters, just like you said. Do you think it's more important for that to be encompassing like every single thing that you can put on your wall? So neon signs and mirrors and photo displays and things like that? Or is it more just like seeing all of the posters together and how you can arrange them in a certain way?
I would say everything.
Of course. I guess that was a silly question. But yeah, I think it was a really great tool, really hard to build. But I will keep you all posted on whether that's going to happen. We also are interested in like a full room visualizer too, which I think you were also speaking to, where you can see your bed and your wall and maybe even like your charging 3-drawer cart that's right next to the bed too. So those are all things that we're thinking about. But since both of you mentioned that, is that where you would start looking for things that are interesting to you, or like where you would start your shopping journey? Or is that kind of a second step after you've gathered inspiration or built a Pinterest board?
I would definitely start with that because I feel like it's nice to see like what it looks like pick and choose. And I really I was on the website the other week, how it like gathers it all into a cart for you when you're done. I think that is the most helpful feature ever.
Cool.
And I kind of like picking through them, and then it's all like, here you go, you're done. So you can see it and everything rather than like individual.
Got it. Cool. I'm glad that you enjoyed that tool.
Because that also helps break the online barrier of having shop online. Because if I was going through a store, I would just like pull out everything and put it in a cart. So it's nice that it does that.
Yeah, it's like building an outfit or a mannequin. So great. I'm glad to hear it, because we don't get to have so much one-on-one time like this where I can ask, specific questions, but that's one tool that we're figuring out how best to optimize for the upcoming year so that everyone can leverage that tool to really design their own look. But thank you for that input.
Thank you all for sharing. So I have 2 questions before I open it up to audience Q&A. So the first one is, have you ever felt that being a woman has impacted your experience in any way?
I also get asked this question a lot. I really don't think it has. I think it depends on the industry, honestly. And I think things are improving like every single day, year. Maybe I was naive to it when I was young. But I think that there's so many women out there that are here to support other women. And I just don't like think about it, and I don't worry about it. And it's not really relevant in my day to day. Now, when you talk about like raising money and bringing in capital to a business, I think that there's a little bit of that still there, because that industry is so male dominated. But now there are so many female focused venture capital funds, and there's so many resources that are like focused on women. So it's just about surrounding yourself with the right peers, the right mentors, the right people who like understand what you're doing. And then you don't have to really even spend time talking to people that would treat women not equally, honestly.
Yeah, thank you. My last question is, have the delays in the supply chain affected your company? And if so, how do you pivot?
They did for the last couple of years. So a lot of our products that were part of our new assortment in the last 2 years came in late. So we had to like put things on pre-order, and we couldn't launch everything at the time that we wanted to. So really just having a lack of visibility on the time that it takes for goods to arrive from overseas has definitely impacted the business, as well as just the increased prices. So as you guys know, I think there's a lot of brands that are transparently speaking about this out there. Everyone has had to raise prices in some capacity and pass it on to the customer because of costs going up of raw materials and shipping and freight. Freight is how you get goods over the water from overseas. But I think now we're in a much better situation. So we're not expecting any delays right now. But yeah, it's been pretty tough. But not to like sink the bit, not like so hard that it ruined our business. But something to navigate.
Now I'm going to open it up to audience Q&A. So if anyone has a question, feel free to unmute or put it in the chat and I can read it out.
I have a couple of questions. I'm gonna be
Sure.
like typing it down because I'm gonna use it for like a project.
Okay.
Okay. So my first question is describe your leadership style and how you would lead others, and how is this different from like your male counterparts?
My leadership style, I've never defined that. I think a great leadership style, and something that I'm always working on, is a style in which you're in service to the people around you and to your customer and to yourself, to be accountable to things. And I'm definitely not like a super serious and strict and stern sort of leader. I like to have relationships with everyone on my team, the team at large. So what's challenging is like where you draw the line between being a leader and someone's boss and their superior versus their friend or their counterpart, because I do have personal relationships with a lot of people I work with, and you want to be able to have like a deeper connection to someone, but still have a level of authority. So I think I have a very approachable and relatable leadership style. And how does this differ from my male counterparts? I mean, I don't think any guy out there is like caring about being friends with their team, if I'm going to be honest. But I think I take a much more like down to earth and humble approach.
Okay. My next question is, what do you think is the most significant barrier to female leadership?
Let me see. Trying to think, like, this might be aggressive, but confidence might be one of them. I think a lot of women, like, I shouldn't say this. I should say, like, there are women who might like lead with fear or a lack of confidence or insecurity. But I'm just going to go back to what I said of faking it till you make it and being really confident and walking around like you're the smartest person in the room. If you believe in that, then other people are going to believe in that.
Okay, cool. And my next question is, do different business sectors have greater gender diversity / women in leadership, and why do you think that is so?
I think it's just a difference of like traditionally how the split of gender has been in certain industries. So like retail, for example, the industry that I'm in, there's been like plenty of women in retail, like probably less men in retail. But it's definitely like a more equal sort of industry. There might be other industries out there where there's traditionally been more of an imbalance where that, exists, but I personally don't have experience there, so I can't really speak to it. But I have like externally seen the world of venture capital, private equity, just this whole like world of private capital. There's many, many, many more women involved in that industry in the last 10 years than there was prior.
Okay, and then my next question is, what advice would you give to the next generation of female leaders?
I would give the advice, there's so many things. Don't be afraid to like say yes, take a leap, put yourself out there. Don't let the fear of insecurity or the fear of not knowing enough or being good enough stop you from pursuing something that you believe in.
Okay. And then what are the benefits to having women in leadership?
I think it's really just about like balance and bringing different perspectives to the table. So that goes for different genders, but also different ages and different backgrounds. I think it's most successful when you have people in a room around a table that are not all the same, regardless of what characteristic you're comparing. So having people that have 20, 30 years experience in the room alongside me versus male, female, coming from different parts of the world, of the country, different backgrounds, ethnicities, like all of that just makes for better decision-making and diversity and understanding of different backgrounds.
Okay. And then my next question is, what factors impact a woman's ability to lead others? So I think we already answered that with insecurity, right? Okay, my next question is, what concrete steps can we take to advance women empowerment in the field of business specifically?
I think just supporting each other, and me doing things like this, I think is in support of that. But going out of your way to help someone else if you don't benefit from it in any way, and making professional connections that are mutually beneficial, and making that a part of things that you prioritize and think are important.
Okay, and then what advice do you have for women who want to work in a male-dominated field?
I feel like we already talked about it a little bit, but I think it's just, again, like walking into a environment or a situation, not feeling less than or different than, and just you kind of portraying what you want others to feel about you or think of you.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
I think we have some questions in the chat.
Yeah.
The first question is, how do you get the word out and market your product? Can you speak to the role of social media and digital marketing in Dormify's branding strategy?
Yeah. I mean, you guys hopefully have seen a little bit of it. We are getting the word out via a few different ways. So one would be through social media. We post very regularly on all of the different channels, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, and even Facebook to reach parents. And we also have a brand ambassador program that I mentioned. So if anyone is interested in joining our brand ambassador program, you can apply via our website on the top banner. And we are always looking for high schoolers to join the program early if they're interested in getting involved early. And our branding strategy. So Dormify has always been grounded in like centering everything around the brand and everything around the customer. So we do everything in service of you guys, and providing entertaining and engaging content and creating awesome products that you want to put in your room, and just being a big sister to all of you as you navigate both high school, the transition to college, and then, your 4 years in college and beyond. So I think our, one of our major strategies is providing helpful resources and advice and being that big sister, alongside providing really great inspiration. And then, of course, making it really easy to shop.
And Haley raised her hand. I think she has a question.
Go ahead, Haley.
Yeah, I have a few questions as well. So,
Okay.
My first question was it difficult to begin hiring employees and kind of figure out how to work that aspect of the business? Like, you have an idea and then like all the other small things that come into part, and how did you manage that?
Hiring people. So at the beginning, there's a couple of different ways you could go about this. So for us, there were so many different aspects of the business. It was important to find both generalists that could like get their hands in anything and figure it out and just be a good problem solver or be a go-getter that wants to, figure things out. But then also within, say there's like 4 people that are at the early stage of an idea or a business, you want people who can be generalists and a jack of all trades. But then within those 4 people, you might have someone who is most focused on product development, and you have another person that's more focused on marketing, and another person that's more focused on, operations. So it's kind of a combination in early days of finding people who are really well-rounded that can do a lot of things, but then not having like duplicates of skill sets, so that people can start to take on different parts of the business, and you're not just doubling up 2 people to be doing the same thing.
Can I ask one more quick question?
Yeah.
Was it hard as a college student to have a good work-life balance, or were you super stressed kind of creating a new business and all that? And how do you manage that good balance?
So I didn't spend like full-time effort on Dormify while in college. It was kind of like a side hustle while we were in college still, and I didn't really like hit the ground running until I graduated. So that being said, I feel like I was able to really balance my schoolwork and having 2 majors. I was in a sorority. I had friends. I, did spring break, and like I did all the things that I feel like I wanted to do. There's only so many hours in the day though. So like from a schoolwork perspective, because I chose to do 2 majors, there wasn't necessarily time in my schedule to take a class about something random. And that's what everyone tells you to do during college, is like take the random class about a totally obscure topic that you're never going to learn about again. And I just didn't have time to do things like that. But it's all about like time management. I probably couldn't have like played a sport in college. I wouldn't have had time for that. But I think the balance is important. And what I always sort of share when asked this question is, college is such a special time. So for me, I would not have let the business ruin that for me. And there's a lot of people who, drop out of college to pursue their idea, and every situation is different. If there is, the potential of someone beating you to pursuing this idea first, obviously you have to focus on that. But in my case, that really wasn't relevant. So you kind of just have to pick what you want to prioritize. And I was prioritizing my college experience.
Thank you so much.
We have a question from Gabby in the chat. She said, because of a lot of your customer base is young, unemployed people, how do you ensure that your products are affordable to all?
Yeah. Great question. So we are actually going to be offering a more affordable line of products this year, which I'm really excited about. So we'll be having really like a broader range of price points in all of our key categories, from bedding to storage to headboards to decorative pillows, like all these different things. Part of our key strategy this year is what we call in retail good, better, and best pricing. So typically in the past, we've been more of the better price point, and now we will have the good price point. And if anyone's interested in retail, you'll hear that that phrase more often going forward. But we also give lots of opportunities to win giveaways, and we have lots of ways to earn discounts. But I think something for what I would wrap up this question with is, yes, all of our consumers are in college and typically not making much of an income. And if they are, they're definitely not spending it on things for their room. But through our ambassador program right now, we are actually revamping the whole program for the summertime. But if you are, someone who is a hustler, go-getter, and wants to make money that they can spend on Dormify, introducing Dormify to your friends and having them use your unique discount code will result in you building up credit that you can spend on Dormify. So you can introduce tons of people to the brand, and through your efforts of doing so, you can build up, some serious credit to shop the site. So I like to think that we offer lots of different ways that you can bring Dormify into your space, regardless of your budget. But I am excited to be able to offer some new price points this coming year.
The last question before we end it, because I don't want to take too much of your time. How many hours do you work each week? Do you have a schedule, or does it depend? From Abigail. Thank you.
Good question, Abigail. I wonder what my husband would say if you were here when you asked that question. I work, so it is a set schedule. Our office really works from 9 to 6, Monday through Friday. There are definitely times where I start my day at 7:30 or 8, and today it's 8 o'clock and I'm still not done with my day. So it really depends, but we do have a set, work office time, and it's not a crazy amount of hours, but sometimes I like to work on a Sunday a little bit just to like catch up and not have to be in a meeting with a ton of people, but really just have some independent time. So I think balance is really important, and I definitely make the time to like shut off and step away and take time off. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Amanda. We are immensely grateful for the time that you've taken to speak to the launch project. We know how busy you are, and it really means a lot that you're so open and honest with sharing your journey, your experiences, and you have such great advice. So we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Anytime.